Hi everyone, welcome to the Sacred Rainbow Warrior. Today I wanted to talk about what is coming, the second coming, and to clear up some of the nonsense that I keep hearing and reading online. And one of the things I would like to clear up is I keep hearing Jesus, you need Jesus. Jesus is going to come and save you. If you don't do what you're told, Jesus is going to bring down a reckoning on your house, stuff like that. Really religious dogma. And on my journey, I have gone deep, 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 deeply inside to understand the truth. And I've gone in the opposite direction where I've gone high, 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 so high that learning the integrity of truth is like balancing a feather on a wire over the Grand Canyon on a windy day. And the truth is, not only is it difficult and painful for the ignorant to hear because of their egos, but even when you are doing the work to understand that level of truth, that divine truth, is very challenging because it needs to be translated into this density. We are going through the Revelations. I don't even know what the Revelations are because I haven't read the Bible. I don't intend to either because it's a diary. It's a diary of different men, and it's been typed up by men, and it's been misconstrued over the ages and mistranslated because the vibration of words and language has changed over the past 2000 years. And especially the English language, it doesn't hold a high vibration if you're speaking from the mind. And the society, specifically the toxic patriarchy, by using science and religion, has taught us to give power to the mind over the heart, when the truth is the mind is but a humble servant to love, to the heart. And this has caused all sorts of problems. The first problem is control, enslavement, and logic. Logic is the grasping of reality and the fear of love. Logic is like me asking you, what is love? And you get a pen and paper out and you write what you think love is. That's logic. Logic is grasping at straws. It's a limitation on reality out of fear because love is so vast that you cannot write it down. It has to come through feeling. It has to come through the heart. Now, the the issue we have with what is coming, the second coming, is it's not just one man, it's not just one woman, it's multiple because we are better together. If you look at how the English language has misconstrued through spell magic the meaning of religion, for example, legion legion of people. It was about coming together to combine light because when Jesus died, a big source of light left the planet because they killed him. And those forces that killed him were after something very specific and that's why he sacrificed himself to protect us. And that old story of control and enslavement and destruction of the feminine and the voice of the masculine is coming to an end now. I found it very difficult to come on here today to speak. I think it's about my 12th recording because everyone before that was being sabotaged by my ego. And I could tell you a lot about the ego and how the ego is it's a hijack that was created uh, many eons ago to sabotage us. But there is a purity to the ego that it's used as a teaching system where you go the opposite direction to what the ego is telling you in order to grow. Because essentially it is a growth portal because the ego is essentially the Akashic records. But it was hijacked and it was hijacked to cause us to project and create our own distortion of reality through the third eye, because that's how powerful we are. We create, as a collective, we create our own reality because we give off energy. Now, all of this is related to what I'm talking about, Jesus and the second coming, because the one of the revelations is the Armageddon, the apocalypse, and the truth, which I'm sure you're already aware behind the Latin meaning of the apocalypse, is um, the dropping of the veil, the releasing of the veil. And the veil is essentially the lies, the matrix, you might want to call it. And well, on my journey that I took with plant medicine, I went deep with my partner, Hazel, who worked with the feminine. I saw the truth, and it's not pretty. And the closest documentary to it is The Matrix, but that's also not quite accurate because they're not robots and it's not AI. That's not to say in our current day and themes that AI is not involved, but I don't want to go off on a tangent about the rabbit hole of all the stuff that is happening to mismatch us and separate us from each other because that's all it is. It's a rabbit hole that goes nowhere. You get no answers going that way. Trust me, I've been there. I went there and I got the answer I needed pretty quickly, actually. And then I was pulled down there and nearly killed so many times that I had to stop. And then I turned around and I started going the right direction, which was towards love. And I started getting the truth, the real answers of what happened and why we're here. And when I found out, it was just like in the movies when Neo vomits, he's like, "Bleh!" That's what happened to me, but it was a lot more. And luckily I had a bucket. The truth is really, really rough because if everybody could receive the truth, there would be mass cognitive dissonance. There would be riots. That's how rough it is. But because we're being upgraded and slowly bombarded with light and love from below and above to break the illusion that love is what we're afraid of, we're slowly coming to terms with the truth. And I think there's going to be some really big truth bombs this year. Even my guides aren't telling me the full scope of what's going to happen this year. I mean, I know there's going to be an Armageddon. There's going to be, it's already started in the 80s. The earthquakes have been getting bigger and more frequent, and the tornadoes, hurricanes, the winds, the floods across Europe under a Pisces eclipse. I mean, come on, it's all happening. And the prophecy, the Hopi prophecy of the third shaking, the First World War was the first shake, the Second World War was the third shake, and the illusion is that there'll be a third World War, and there will be illusions and a lot of barking around that. But I know for a fact that there won't be a third war. There won't be a nuclear war, a world war. There won't be. But I do know there will be a big rumbling that everyone will fear and that everyone will feel, and there will be a reckoning. But it's all injustice to help us, to help free us from the hijack of our egos and the dark forces that everybody likes to talk about. But the truth is, like how I began my journey, I pointed the finger at myself and I started looking at, I stopped looking outside of myself. I stopped watching the news. I stopped commenting on social media and I stopped paying attention to what everyone else was saying that was talking nonsense. And I just started following astrology readings, to be honest, and people who were channeling love messages. And working with the feminine, working with my partner really helped open my eyes to how ignorant I was to the power of the feminine and the toxicities that our society, patriarchy, and matriarchy, yeah, um, tries to separate us and keep us at war with one another. And the truth is, nobody's coming to save us. Jesus isn't coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And this is what God is trying to teach us. He's trying to teach us, like a good father, you've got to start growing. You've got to start recreating yourself. That's why you're here. And I'm not religious at all, but I had to go through all that, against my will. When I was 1 year old, I was baptized against my will. I remember it. It was a disgusting betrayal of my heart. And I had to go to Catholic school and I had to unbrand myself from all of that nonsense that essentially cuts us off from our divinity. It's a capping and a cutting. It cuts us off from our mother beneath and our father up high so that we can't be sovereign. And it steals that power and it feeds from it. That's only an inkling of the truth. And it's all done through blood magic and sacrifice, which happened thousands and thousands of years ago, but still goes on today in Hollywood. And even that's coming to an end now. So can you imagine when all of that dark energy that had a hold on us for so long ends? It's going to bring about um, a new awakening. And for the people who've been waiting, the people who know about this, the people who've been doing the work, it's great. It's great. It's going to make them very happy. And they're going to realize some things about themselves that they thought they knew, but they don't. It's going to release soul gifts. It's going to create soul retrievals, all the soul parts that have been stolen or that we gave away. But for the people who haven't got a clue, who don't even believe in God, like I never used to believe in God, I never used to believe in spirits or anything like that. But for all those people who haven't got a clue, all those people who are unconscious, they're screwed. And I don't mean they're screwed like in a bad way. I mean, they're going to have to do the work. They're going to have to face themselves. And the problem with that is it brings up all of the things, it's going to highlight all the things that they've been ignoring. And that's really dangerous for a lot of people because that can lead to suicide because people don't understand that suicide is just a spiritual ego death. It can be avoided. It's the ego that wants to die, but it tells us and tries to force us to kill ourselves. And this is where the hijack comes in. I've been on a journey of really intense healing. I really devoted myself highly in tandem with my partner, who we were friends first for 11 months. And in the 11th month, which was actually in November, is the 11th month, we I stopped denying my love for her and I confessed my love to her, and we realized we had a same purpose and that we were twin flames. And again, I didn't believe in any of that nonsense. It's not nonsense, but I used to think it was nonsense. I never used to believe in that until I realized that it's true. And I had to break all the disguises of my toxic masculinity and narcissistic behavior and destroy them. And the only way I could do that was by sitting in front of a woman as a mirror and exposing myself and all the lies I had against the feminine and against myself. And that is the path to redemption for men and salvation for women. And every time I talk about toxic masculinity, the first response I get from men is, what about women? Well, what about you first? Like I said, Start pointing the finger at yourself first and let women take care of their end. Women have to go through their own toxic femininity, but they also have to go through their own toxic masculinity because they've been bombarded by a society that is toxic through its own masculinity and patriarchy. So Jesus isn't going to save you. Jesus is a guide. He's a guide. He's a brother. And we look up to our brothers. This is what we've stopped doing. This is why we have a toxic brotherhood. Instead of looking up to each other, we look down on each other. I realized this in my life where men never took me seriously. They still don't. I'm integrating it. They don't take me seriously. And there's a lot of jealousy as well from a man who speaks from his heart and has done a lot of purification work. There's a lot of jealousy. And jealousy springs from an adoration that the heart and the ego can't, sorry, not the heart, but the ego can't refrain from pushing back because it's a mirror of your own greatness. When you're jealous of someone else, it means you're ignoring your own greatness. And I learned all of this through animal wisdom. Um, the the toxic patriarchy is essentially a vampiric system of self-worship through satanic rituals that created a shield over the heart against the feminine because the feminine is so much love, and it created war. And that war is coming to an end, but there'll be a great big crescendo and then a celebration and then a lot of hard work to rebuild what's been destroyed. But the coercion of mankind hasn't been our fault, but because we chose it, it is our responsibility. And the ego always reacts out narcissistically, always reacts out with insults and control and anything it can do to wriggle out of it. But if you turn it back on yourself and mirror it back to yourself, you just need to do the opposite to what your ego is telling you. So if you are triggered, for example, by what I'm saying, like I love triggers. Triggers are really great truth tellers because if you're triggered, that means your ego is pissed off, which means your soul is going, yep, I agree with that. That's true. And that means that part of you needs to die. So if you're triggered by the truth, look at that inside yourself because it's mirroring. I'm mirroring you. Look at it, own it, and get rid of it. Transmute it into love. The only way you can transmute something is through integration. I realized there's so much ignorance around integration. I didn't know what integration was. I started, I used to work in finance for 18 years. It was horrendous. And I tried everything to heal myself. I was told I had CPTSD, bipolar, ADHD, on the spectrum, all that stuff, all that nonsense, all those lies that create separation. Oh, I'm in this camp, I've got this. I'm in this camp, I've got this. Oh, I got OCD, I've got ADHD, I got this. It all originates from narcissistic abuse. It all originates from toxic shame system of a toxic tree of death instead of the tree of life. They mirrored everything. They turned everything upside down, inside out, and back to front. A bit like in Stranger Things. Art is the answer. Art shows us through channeling, through people's imagination, the truth. The truth is hidden in everything. People talk about Simpsons predicting the future. Yeah, because it's being channeled. If you're an open channel, you can channel through art the future and the past. I digress. The truth is a powerful totem that can change reality. It's a totem of love because truth is love and love is truth. But love is such a big word, and I speak from my own experience of how I used to be, that I don't understand it and I didn't believe in it. And this is how I believe. This is how I've experienced men treat the word love. And so I took a journey to understand love. I know that sounds stupid, But what I realized is that even the word hello is a form of love. Even the name Alistair is a vibration of love. Rainbow. When I say rainbow, you think of color. You'll have a memory of loving attachment to rainbow. What is the rainbow? The rainbow is part of the prophecy. It's not your sexuality. That's been hijacked. If you notice, there are only six colors in the flag. There's one missing, blue, the voice, the pure voice. It's the most important part. The prophecy of the sacred rainbow warrior is about men and women who cleanse the rainbow of their chakras to merge a bridge, a rainbow bridge, a rainbow between heaven and earth. They become divine sovereign beings. This is the prophecy that is coming true. This is the prophecy I have been working towards with my partner to meet ourselves in divine union. And we've experienced and seen what is coming. And I'm having to share my voice, which has been very, very challenging for me because of the censorship and attacks that have prevented me from believing in myself and believing in my voice and sharing my voice. And the different versions of truth that are out there are questioning each other. They're creating doubt. It's what I said earlier about being too much false light. There's an energy of being misled and humiliation. And so there's a lot of people who are that don't believe in anything anymore. They don't believe in light or the dark. And the problem with that is a choice. That's not sitting on fence, that's a choice. That's a choice for fear. That's not a choice for living in love. And what's coming is kind of going to push everybody, squeeze everybody into releasing their darkness and their attachment to that darkness. And I mean the impurity of darkness, not the purity of darkness. Because there is a deep purity of love in the darkness. But there is also false light, like I said, false attachments to light. And what's coming is the shaking, these all these earthquakes and this release, this cracking open of love, where Gaia is evolving and her love's going to come up, and it's going to expose all the darkness in people. And this is why people are going to act out, because we've been so detached from love, and we've bought the lies of these distortions of darkness for so long that we actually think love is the enemy. And you can see it in the movies and the anime and all of the different channelings of love, of how the darkness always blames love. Like you look at the stories of Superman, when he saves the day, the bad guy always turns the people against him. And then when they see the truth, they're like, "Oh yeah, sorry, sorry, Superman. Sorry, we thought you were a dickhead. Sorry, we thought you were toxic and that you were the bad guy. Sorry, we fell for it again." And this is what's happening now. People are falling for it. They're falling for it. They're falling for the nonsense. And I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up of it. There's so much nonsense out there. And the truth is, you can only find the truth in your heart. And it's not an opinion. There's no, oh, your truth is my truth. That's just a gaslight. There is only one truth, and that's love. And if you're not speaking sincerely, or writing sincerely, or expressing yourself sincerely from a place of integrity, of love, etiquette of love, the courtesy of love, the devotion to love, then you're lying. It's really that simple. So if you're telling people you need Jesus or Jesus is going to come save you, you're lying. You are lying because you know full well you have to save yourself. Nobody's coming to save you. You know that. If that triggers you, you know it's true. So this is my first video of me sharing my voice. To be honest, I have so much to share that I didn't even know what I was going to talk about today, but I started talking about what bothers me. What bothers me is people saying that somebody's going to come and save them. I'm sorry, but they're not. If you're playing the victim or the rescuer or the perpetrator, you need to turn that on its head. What I can tell you now, which is really important and which I can guarantee you is going to happen, there's going to be another lockdown. Use that lockdown like I did and go inside. I started my plant medicine journey in 2020 and I spent 4 years going inside and now I'm coming out. 4 years, 4 years. And I used the lockdown to do that because that's exactly what they didn't want us to do. I didn't buy into the panic. I didn't buy into the consumerism. I didn't buy into the news. I didn't buy into the censorship or the lies. Instead, I went inside and I found the truth. I went the opposite direction to where they're telling us to go. Stop watching the nonsense on the news. It's all lies. All of it. So, whether you agree with me or not, listen to your heart. What does your heart say? So, this is a slow process for me of coming out and showing my voice. And I'm going to get more and more passionate, which means I'm pr most probably going to trigger a lot of people, which means I must be speaking a lot of truth. Now, the brilliance of triggers, like I said, is they are amazing for helping you heal. So if you're triggered by something I've said, it's like, gosh, he said that. Why is that triggering me? And then like mirror it back to yourself. And then just take a journey with it, through meditation or whatever, ceremony, however you do it. And know that I'm writing an incredible book on integration. And I'll hopefully get it published this year. But I've become an integration specialist, but there's so much around integration that people don't know how to integrate changes, spiritual changes, plant medicine journeys, ceremonies, or any big changes, walk-ins, you name it. I've been through it, and I'm having to write over 4 books because it's so big. But I hope you can join me in speaking the truth, not abuse, truth, which means love, through encouragement and sharing wisdom and ideas of what is coming. And I really wish you well. I really wish you well on the journey of enlightenment, let's call it. I call it the journey of purification because purification brings enlightenment. Purifying through the heart because the heart chakra is the purification center and everything goes through there. And coming into the body is of the utmost importance. So lots of grounding. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there and perhaps I'll do another video soon. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.